It is time for 5 fast questions. Frank has the questions. I have the answers. Fire away, sir.
What historical event would you like to have been it?
The Kennedy assassination.
Who would be the least surprised to find out is an alien?
Victor Wembanyama.
What's the most important aspect of a good relationship?
Communication.
Who's your favorite TV character of all time?
Oh, God. Abed from Community.
What's the weirdest thing you've witnessed at work?
I once saw somebody pull a piece of cake out of the garbage, blow off actual used coffee grounds, and then eat it. And that is 5 fast questions.
George Costanza was his name?
Oh, it was iffy, man. All right. What was question number 1?
What historical event would you have liked to have been at?
I mean, you could go back to like the crucifixion or the birth of Christ or these other things, but it's like I've seen enough about it. I would like to go back to Dealey Plaza during the Kennedy assassination.
That's the thing, though. It's like most historical events are like just like, I mean, it's something bad happened. There's like nothing like extremely good that. I mean,
well, I mean, you could go be like, oh, I want to be there when the Berlin Wall comes down.
But I mean, David Hasselhoff was there. That's all you needed. Nobody else needed to be there besides the Hoff.
Beard just put a really good one in the chat. The Live Aid concert.
That would have been fun. I mean, I think some people think maybe seeing the signing of the Declaration of Independence, but I think they don't realize that was like 4 months of just talking before they actually signed on that.
Woodstock.
Woodstock,
you know, like if you go to like a major concert or something like that, or maybe you want to be in the theater when help make sure Abraham Lincoln doesn't get shot.
I want to be there in the time of Rome and Greek. I want to see stuff back in those days. Let's find some historic event then.
All right. What was the next question?
Who would you be least surprised to find out was an alien? At this point, I think anybody. I don't know if it would surprise me at all.
Well, my
especially
brain
after the debate last week.
My brain went to Victor Wembanyama because have you seen the meme of what it looked like when he was dunking over people, and he legitimately looks like Michael Jordan with the outstretched arm from Space Jam, and I'm like, man, that guy is a monster.
Yeah. I anybody in power, I think it would not shock me at all.
All right,
like they live.
Yeah, no shit. I'm all out of bubble gum. All right, what was the next one?
Who's the most important? What's the most important aspect of a good relationship? Sex.
So, my grandmother actually said this there was one of the big anniversaries with my grandfather. This would have been like around 1999, 2000. And she was talking about, like, somebody had asked them how they were able to make it work for so long. And she said that there's 3 things that you need to have. 1 is communication. 2 is you have to have your finances in order. Like, you have to agree what you're doing with your money. And 3, you got to have a good sex life. And everybody's like, Grandma! Jesus! And that's it. What's interesting is, do you remember those old like poker games? They were just like this big, and you could have like poker, blackjack, you know, like they were huge in the late 90s. So we were like helping my grandparents clean out their house one day, and we noticed that they had those sitting at their bedside table, and we asked them about it. And they were like, yeah, like we'll just wake up randomly at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and since we can't sleep, we'll play the game. All right, next question.
Number 4. Who's your favorite TV character of all time?
Well, the Beard put Ron Swanson. That's a good one. I would put him up there. I can actually think of about, I think, 4 that I absolutely love. One of which is Abed from Community, Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation, Omar Little from The Wire.
Okay.
And this next one, I think, is one of the most underrated that's out there. Bill Haverchuck from Freaks and Geeks, played by the amazing Martin Starr.
Okay. I would go Woody Harrelson from Cheers. He was a pretty good one in his role there.
Yeah.
Tim Allen in Home Improvement. I just love, except for the last 2 years, but the first 4 years, his character was friggin' fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree with those. And
I can't really think of anybody else.
All right. Well, then what was the last question?
Bart Simpson.
Yeah, Bart Simpson. Homer, I think I would probably. You know what? I still think Ralph Wiggum doesn't get the credit that Ralph Wiggum is due, man. I put that poll up a couple of weeks ago about who's the best non-Simpson character on The Simpsons, and he did not get the amount of votes that he should have. That's bullshit.
What's the weirdest thing you've witnessed at work? I've witnessed a lot.
Yes, Frank has
stories on stories on
Frank has stories for days. So back like 10, 15 years ago, when we were all playing Halo and Battlefield and everything else like that, Frank, we would all log online, and then Frank would just tell us from when he worked at the sporting goods store to now when he's working for the government. He just has some of the craziest fucking stories. But what is like, if you could pick one, what is the one story that you would pull out of all of them?
I mean, the two that are, I mean, and it's not like, I'm not making fun of these people, but it's the Burt Reynolds guy and the old guy who came in and bought the Boston Red Sox championship T-shirt. Those are the two that I remember most from working there. Now, to explain the Burt Reynolds guy, there's this guy, slow in the head. Who knows what he had? Something. Nice guy, but he would come in and he would talk and he would talk and he would talk and talk, and he'd be in there for 2 or 3 hours because he had no understanding that he couldn't just do this stuff. So one day he starts talking about how he knows Burt Reynolds. How he knows Burt Reynolds because he met him one time at a Florida State football game, and now they're buddies. So he's telling us this story, and the guy's like, and I asked him about Boogie Nights, and he said, "Listen, we don't talk about that movie. That's not my favorite movie." And I said, "Okay, Bert, I won't ever ask you about that movie."
Oh, I'll never see Burt Reynolds in another light again.
Oh man, but yeah, I've got a few. Some that I can talk about.
Okay, so we might need to isolate out like one segment a week for Frank to just tell a work story from his past. Or just a story in general. It doesn't even have to be work related, because even then, Frank's got other stories that are, because it's fucking Tallahassee, Florida.
I've been around, man.
Frank's seen some shit.
And for whatever reason, like the craziest, most off the wall people decide to come up and zero me out to talk to me or to do the weirdest crap in front of me. I don't know why. I've had girlfriends tell me that before. Like anybody just comes up and starts talking to you. I was like, yeah, I don't know why. They just see me and want to have a conversation.
You got a friendly face.
I must.
So the Beard says, I kind of worked with him. So there are a few weird things. Yeah, I've seen him in a bikini. Anna says that's a tough one. Maybe there's one time at some drive-through, a customer threw change in her face because they were pissed off. Well, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
I do remember, speaking of people just randomly coming up to you, when I was down in South Florida, I went to a college called Nova Southeastern University, and I worked for the radio station there while I was getting my degree in computer science. And we would host live events on campus. And there was an actual like kind of restaurant bar on the campus. It was pretty cool. They served beer there. And so we were going to go host this event. And I remember it was when I believe the Heat and the Spurs were in the finals. So as I'm leaving the radio station, that's right where there's this big roundabout at just the main part of campus. And as I'm wheeling all the stuff, I hear these motorcycles and these two dudes pull up, just huge, big, burly, badass biker dudes. They were Mongols. So if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. But they are badasses.
This was in Miami?
Yeah, that you don't fuck with.
That's outlaw territory, man.
So, no, I think they were Mongols. I believe.
No, but I'm saying like outlaws control that. Well, they might have actually let the Mongols go because Mongols and Hell's Angels hate each other. And
yeah, I was trying to think if they were outlaws instead. No, I think
outlaws
they hate
the Hell's Angels.
Either way, it was. They might have been outlaws actually, because I think because I think that Mongols actually was somebody I ran into in Portland. But either way, so when they pull up, they don't know where they're going. Who do you think that they glob onto? Who do you think they come to? This guy, bald head, no beard. I had a goatee at the time, sleeve tattoo, the whole nine. So
he looks like a biker.
Yeah, so they immediately come up to me and they're just asking like, "Hey, where can we get a beer?" And I was like, where I'm going right now, they serve beer, man. Like, we'll get you in. And I just, as we walk in, I'm hauling in all of the equipment, and it's these just two dudes, and there's all these. So at this time I was 33, I think. So I was older than like most of the kids that were on campus. And there's all these little 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that are just like terrified of these bikers. So we get into the bar, and I start setting up, and I went over and I told the bartender, I was like, "Hey, these guys are with me. Just give them a beer. They're cool. They got it." And everybody was just fucking terrified. And then it finally got to the point where the bartender was like, "We can't serve them because they're not students here." So ultimately what happened was I told him, like, there's actually, if you got, and I gave him directions to another bar that was down the street. I think it was Geronimo's actually is where I sent them. But yeah, like, where, like, out of anybody there, who do you think that they were going to isolate? This guy.
Hey, at least they didn't try to initiate you.
No shit.